Eating disorder recovery. What does treatment really look like for an eating disorder?
So it definitely looks different depending on the eating disorder that you have. Recovery, I always say, is a roller coaster because eating disorders are so tough to nail down and to manage. What we do know is that the earlier you get help, the better the prognosis. Doesn't mean that it's too late for anyone at any age to get help. Just means that if you catch something when you're a teenager or you catch something right as it's starting to blossom, it doesn't really have its talons in you, as
Hmm.
deeply quite yet.
Yeah.
So it depends on the severity, the type of disorder, the social supports, but definitely evidence-based treatments and treatments that often focus on like cognitive and behavioral changes, as well as exploring, okay, how did we get here in the first place? How can we kind of dismantle the thought processes that have led us to this place? But again, the eating disorders can be addictive too, so it's really tough to implement change. But if you have the motivation, if you have the support, if you have access to care, which is another difficult thing too, those are things that can be really helpful in recovery.
When you said evidence based, give me an example of what that might look like.
Yes. So, one of the leading evidence based treatments that I use with my teenagers is family based treatment. So, this can be really helpful if you have a family, doesn't have to be like two parents, it can just be one parent, but a parent who is willing to do what they can to support their child in recovering from an eating disorder. So, it's all about empowering the parent, and you're taking away responsibility and autonomy from the teen. They're not plating food, they're not making food, they're not doing anything on their own. Everything is on the parent. So it can be really hard
Okay.
because you're kind of flipping the family system on its head. But the
Hmm.
parent is doing all of these things and making sure that the teen can't engage in eating disorder behaviors. So, what's plated in front of you is what you're going to eat. And then we have like rewards and consequences for whether or not they do eat or if they don't eat. So family-based
Right.
treatment, that's one of the leading evidence-based treatments for anorexia nervosa in teenagers.
Okay.
Hmm.
Very helpful. Thank you. Um, so it looks like I have what does recovery and treatment look like? It sounds, because I've not been through it. It sounds very similar to how you might treat someone who's experiencing maybe an addiction issue. It's a repeated reminder of changing something that you're engaging in that's unhealthy for you.
Hmm.
Would you say
Yeah.
that's true?
Yeah, so we
Okay.
do see sometimes like substance use disorders in concurrence with eating disorders, especially with adult populations.
Right.
And when I said earlier, like eating disorders can be coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
It's a way that we learn how to deal with life. Another evidence-based treatment that I fall back on that I use often is dialectical behavior therapy,
Mm-hmm.
and
DBT.
yeah, DBT. So
Yeah.
with DBT, it's a lot of skill building, and it's shown to be effective in eating disorders because what we're doing is we're taking away the eating disorder behavior and we're replacing it with a more effective coping skill. And it might not be the quick fix that the eating disorder behavior feels like, but it is something that can be more effective long term. It helps you deal with your emotions, manage your emotions, the thoughts that lead to those emotions,
Right.
and find a way to sit with those difficult things. It's acknowledging that we need to make change while still finding space for accepting, okay, this is where I'm at right now. I might not be at that place where I want to be, and it's okay that I'm here. I just need to continue trying to make those efforts to make change.
And what tools and resources could the audience use? So, for example, I will obviously be giving them your website information, which is, I'll just say it now, it's www.parkpsychology.com. And Dr. Springer lists out her services. And you can also find some blog entries about mental health and eating disorders. So please use those as a resource. Um, are there groups, these individuals who might be experiencing these issues and are suffering from them, or just want to not have to it to be on their plate anymore and want to change or address it or learn more about why they're engaging in certain behaviors? Are there groups that they can be a part of? What's the recommendation? Is it really just find a therapist? What avenues are available to them?
That's a great question. So there are a lot of support groups out there. You like just a quick Google, you can find support groups. I know, we're moving away from Facebook at this point, but there are a
Mm-hmm.
lot of Facebook groups out there. Support groups for parents of kids, teens with eating disorders, because it's tough on the whole family system. It's not just tough for
Yeah.
the individual experiencing it. So there's support groups out there for the individual and for caregivers of the
Mm-hmm.
individual. If you're wanting additional tools or like ways to find a therapist near you, you could look at NEDA, like the National Eating Disorders Association. So that's www.nationaleatingdisorders.org, or the National Alliance for Eating Disorders, which is www.allianceforeatingdisorders.com. So that has assessment tools, just additional resources, ways that you can find providers. Yeah, there are a lot of resources out there. It's tough to find providers, and there is help out there. Access to care is critical. So if you're thinking that you need help, or if you're thinking that you just want some more information, that someone that you care about might need some support, those are some good resources that you could look at.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Lily. I
Mhm.
should say Dr. Springer.
Mhm.
Sorry. Um, okay. Anything else you want to add before I get into the podcast question?
Nope. Yeah, I feel like we've covered a lot today.
We have. You've been
Mhm.
extraordinarily interesting and helpful. Okay, so for those of you who are watching for the first time, I like to ask my guests a podcast question. And I try to weave in some spirituality to the question because I just find spirituality to be a huge part of what we're doing here. So, Dr. Springer, what made you want to get into this line of work? And have you had a spiritual experience that's influenced your personal or professional life or simply stayed with you?
That's a really good question. So, what made me really want to get into this line of work was I spent my freshman year at the University of Wyoming, and it was not the right place for me. I was very cold, very depressed. And I went to therapy for the first time. I'd never been to therapy before. And the person who I saw made such a huge impact on me. And I was wanting to take my life in a completely different route. I wanted to be a dentist, and
Oh,
I
wow.
I know, and I completely rerouted. I said, I want to do this. I want to be able to help people in the way that I was helped, because I was in such a dark place, and it gave me the tools to find my way out of that dark place. She cared, but she didn't carry me. She gave me
Right.
those tools to do it on my own. So I transferred to UC San Diego, and I majored in psychology, and I get to do that, and it feels really cool to be able to say that. It's very full circle.
Oh, I love that. It's probably extremely fulfilling.
It is. It's really hard work, and being able to connect with humans on such a deep and personal level, it's a privilege. It's a privilege
Yeah.
to be able to see the vulnerable side of people. And when they are able to open up, when we're able to create a space of safety and trust, there's nothing else like it.
Yeah. That's really cool. And what about this? Have you had a spiritual experience that's influenced your personal or professional life?
Spiritual experience, I mean, just like connecting with people, connecting with friends. I love learning about just unique people. I spend a lot
Yeah.
of time going to like live music shows and concerts and festivals. And anytime I get to connect with someone who feels that they can open up to me, like people tell me that they feel that I'm a safe person, and there's no bigger compliment than that. Like I find I'll be in an Uber and someone just completely dumps out all their childhood trauma on me. And I'm like, well, I must be a safe person for them. So
Yeah.
I think those are like great spiritual experiences where, someone sees me as a point of safety. And I don't think I've always been that person. So being able to have grown into that person, it's it's awesome. There's no way to describe it.
I love that. And it really, you're right. It really is an honor when people share their personal details with you or any personal information that they have about themselves. I always feel honored.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's very special. So, well, thank you so much for joining the podcast today. We are going to have Dr. Springer on in the future, and we will let you know what that subject matter will be. We already have it planned out, but I like to keep you in suspense a little bit, not really. But thank you so much. And again, for more information about Dr. Springer, you can visit her website at www.parkpsychology.com. Check out her services and also find some blog entries about mental health and eating disorders, so that can also be a resource for additional reading. And thank you again for your time, your knowledge, and those wonderful resources.
Thank you so much for having me, Dani. This was really great to talk to you.
Yeah, this is a pleasure. Thank you so much.